So business momentum means nothing if we are not protecting the people behind it. And today's guest is somebody who is a perfect embodiment of this mission. We want to hear from her how she's building this brand, which is incredibly tough.
Why would you not buy a helmet? It's the cost of a pizza or a cost of 2 movie tickets. There are so many things that parents spend on my child's future. आपने प्रेजेंट ही नहीं प्रोटेक्ट करा है, वो बच्चा जा रहा है ट्यूशन के लिए, यू नो, फॉर सम फ्यूचर आईआईटी प्रोग्राम, वो हेलमेट बिना पहन के वो कौन सा फ्यूचर आप चेज कर रहे हो?
Majorly in India, we see that helmet is seen more of a way to avoid the fine. So how are you planning to flip this story?
The way I see this is that why not make a helmet which is so stylish that it's a helmet they want to wear, not a helmet they have to wear. I came across some WHO data which said that of all the two-wheeler accidents that are recorded, 19% are fatalities of the person riding in front, the rider, which is extremely high. But what is shocking is that there are 44% fatalities of the pillion rider at the back. Even Mumbai, which has the highest taxpayers and therefore is the richest, has roads which are pathetic, which have potholes all the time. And if you're sitting in a car, a pothole is not a problem because at most you'll feel a jolt. But if you're sitting on a two-wheeler, a sudden pothole is a death trap.
The show, Meet Momentum Masters, we always ask this question: what is the secret of your momentum? What makes you keep going when you kind of hit those walls or dead ends?
I think you have to be.
Hello and welcome to Meet Momentum Masters. I'm really glad to see you all, and as I had shared in my comeback story that I have promised myself to also utilize the platform Meet Momentum Masters to bring in the story of road safety champions and to amplify the voice and share the stories of how they are revamping the safety culture in India. And today's guest, who is someone who is a perfect embodiment of this mission. So she's been the invisible force behind a lot of iconic brands in India, also giving Nykaa its name. And at the peak of her career, she decided to walk away from the corporate boardrooms and pivot because of her fierce passion and drive to make roads safer for women in India. And she's founded Tvarra, a brand which is, she's building it beautifully, a purpose-driven brand which is going to transform the situation for 30 crore women and 50 to 60 crore children who are riding unprotected on the two-wheelers in India. We want to hear from her how she's building this brand, which is incredibly tough, and she's decided to build it at a moment which is very different of what we hear in the startup culture. We want to hear from her how she's building in, what is the secret of her momentum. So we are really glad to welcome Alpana Parida on the show. Welcome, Alpana.
Thank you. Thank you, Shweta. Love to be here.
So Alpana, I am really curious to know that the moment we hear the word startup, it's all about the 20-something hustle culture. And with you, you decided to build a brand which is very purpose-driven and take a very different kind of a route, right? So what is the moment of friction where you decided that, you know, you from building brands for others to making a brand which is purpose-driven and doing it in your 50s? So what was that moment for you?
So first of all, this word startup, I feel that, you know, it's been hyped a lot. दुनिया में अब तक बहुत सारी कंपनियां खुलती थी. When they started, they were all startups, right? Every company in the world would be a startup. I think there is a certain way in which startups are supposed to be working. But it's really any new business idea that were to begin on its own, and it'll start small, it'll try out a few things, make some mistakes, eventually grow big. That's really the journey of pretty much any business. So that's where it is. Why I started, I think I'd worked for so many brands, worked on so many brands for years. And I find that a lot of brands are very timid. You know, so to try out something very new, वो market research कर करके, unless market research has told them exactly that, they're not willing to try something new, not willing to back their understanding. It's not gut, it's your understanding of years of looking at the market, looking at gaps in the market, looking at opportunities. So timid is the word. I found not enough courage to go after something and build something really big. The other reason I have is that I really believe that there is no Indian brand that is truly global. And I believe that there is a place for an Indian brand. When I used to work with Tanishq, they were just closing their US operations. They opened it again. But again, those stores are in where the Indian diaspora lives. So that's really not building a global brand. It just happens to have a store, but it's still chasing the same Indian consumer. So truly building a global brand is something that has always been a dream, and that's part of the dream here as well.
Okay, amazing. Definitely, you've shared that you would wanted to brand which is Indian yet global, right, and have that audience. So, in your case, why you chose helmets as a product, or what was the main problem which you had come across based on which you decided that you would found Tvarra?
So when I was looking for ideas, I was looking for opportunity, my ikigai. Opportunity. I was looking for a gap in the market, and I was looking at what I could do well. I think the opportunity was clear. India has the largest two-wheelers in numbers in the world, right? I think we have about 30 crore plus two-wheelers right now in terms of population, and every year 2 crores more are added, 2 to 3 crores more are added. Additionally, the entire helmet industry, currently the way it works is that you are selling to dealers, distributor dealer model. It's a push kind of industry, right? There is no pull, there is no brand pull, there is no brand that says, मैं तो ये brand ही पहनूंगा. It's seen as a helmet, and there are some high-end helmets which have brands, but majority of the helmets in the country have nothing. And then the third one is that there are no helmets for women or kids. I came across some WHO data which said that of all the two-wheeler accidents that are recorded, 19% are fatalities of the person riding in front, the rider, which is extremely high. But what is shocking is that there are 44% fatalities of the pillion rider at the back.
My God.
And that's
44 you said?
44.
Amazing.
So, I mean, it's just absurd. और कोई उनके लिए helmet बना ही नहीं रहा. The helmets that are made for them are typically the cheapest and the lightest, which are gathering dust in the bottom shelf of a dealer's shelf, because it's not seen as being important.
Okay. So, why do you think like this story, despite being the numbers being so strikingly different, that 19% and 44%, what do you think is the reason why this pillion rider safety kind of becomes, that person who's sitting behind, his subconsciously we take his safety for granted? Like generally speaking, what do you think is the reason in case of India?
I think there is some psychological thing here. The person sitting in front, when a brother and sister are walking, or husband and wife, and there's a threatening situation, the guy will come and stand in the front, and he's sort of protecting by being in the front, right? I think the same psychology perhaps works. It's not that men are not caring for the women at the back. They only care about themselves. ऐसा नहीं है. But subliminally, I think, subconsciously, they feel that they're sitting in the front and they're more likely to bear the brunt of the accident. But what happens is, and this is the science of it, when you anticipate, you can brace yourself for a fall. When you're sitting sideways and there is no anticipation, or you're sitting like a child and your feet are dangling and there is no anticipation, you can't brace yourself. And so that is why the falls are greater, and whether you fall in the front or the back, the fall is a fall.
Yeah.
So the accident is the same.
Right. So you feel that it's more like the person definitely cares, but the way we have been brought up, or the way our mental framework has been, we haven't really cared too much about the person sitting behind. So in terms of the way you are building it, because majorly in India we see that helmet is seen more of a way to avoid fine right? That's
yeah.
generally the thought process we have in India. So how are you planning to flip this story in terms of the cultural context, in the way you are building it? How are you taking in terms of spreading the awareness about this important invisible pillion, so-called demon, which we've been ignoring for long?
So this is very hard. I don't think we as a culture care about safety at all. You know, cigarette के चाहे आप कितने भी ads कर लो, people who are smoking. Insurance, you do whatever, people are not buying life insurance, they're not buying life insurance. We have some of the lowest rates in the world, right? And we personally don't think कि कुछ होगा हमें, you know, because so much happens in India, we don't think about safety really. The way I see this is that you have to make it cool. You have to make it stylish to wear a helmet. So that has happened in the men's motorcycle culture, where they buy better helmets, the better quality helmets, better brands, and they look like cool bikers wearing a jacket. That's part of the ensemble.
Yeah.
So in that ensemble that you're wearing, you look like a proper biker.
Right.
And that's a culture that's growing very fast. I thought for women, this is the one time they're wearing the most wonderful clothes, but when they're riding, they look very ordinary because of the helmet that they're wearing. So why not make a helmet which is so stylish that it's a helmet they want to wear, not a helmet they have to wear. And I think that's the philosophy. Let's start. Safety will become secondary, but for us, we will get to the point if we make it a helmet they want to wear. We've launched women's helmets. Now we're also launching kids' helmets, which are going to be very cool to wear. And you can't force a child to wear something that doesn't look cool. वो तो निकाल देगा. School में he'll be made fun of. So that's the idea, to make helmets that are really fun to wear.
Okay, great. Yeah, definitely it becomes easier to pick up something which is kind of part of a natural extension of who you are. Yeah. If it's designed well, it fits you well. In terms of the safety, like you said, we ignore it so much, but if we make it cool to wear, definitely changes and it becomes a part of everyday routine over here, right? So essentially, when we are talking about this safety culture, do you think there is a gap in terms of the rules? Is that part of the reason, or primarily it is just the design which is the main contributor, that we don't have the kind of products people would want to wear?
I think it's both. Of course, rules are good, and but rules are only as good as how quickly they're adopted, right? So, आप rules बनाओ that will get people to start thinking about a particular product. But if you don't have a product that really is desirable, then no matter what rules you make, it will not work. The WHO study that I was talking about, that has prompted some states to start adopting a compulsory pillion rider rule.
Okay.
And that, I think it's true for Madhya Pradesh, it's true for the south, large parts of the south, Bangalore city. It's not true for Pune. Pune has such a large riding culture, such a large two-wheeler culture. But the residents of Pune fought for their right in High Court and won.
Wow.
Their right to not wear a helmet, not just for the pillion rider, but even themselves.
Oh my God.
So there is no law in Pune, right?
Yeah.
So that's frightening. I understand getting wind on your face, your hair blowing in the wind, that feels very free.
Yeah.
But our Indian roads are like death traps.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at the complete lawlessness we have. On top of it, our roads, even Mumbai, this premier city of India, right, which has the highest taxpayers and therefore is the richest, has roads which are pathetic, which were potholes all the time suddenly. And if you're sitting in a car, a pothole is not a problem because at most you'll feel a jolt. But if you're sitting on a two-wheeler, a sudden pothole is a death trap. So given Indian roads, we definitely need both legislation and great products to come together and work from both sides to be a requirement.
So there's this great thing which you said, that if you made the product such that it becomes a conscious habit for them and they would want to wear it, right? So in terms of how you are designing the product, I would like to understand both aspects of it. of how you are making sure that we are protecting them enough. At the same time, it is so stylish and cool that they would want to wear. So for a woman, as a woman myself, when I ride a two-wheeler, I always have a concern that how will I look, or will it really match my style or not. So essentially, you want to hear about how you are designing, at the same time making sure the protection is great.
Yeah. So I'll just walk you through one of our helmets. See, one is the functional part of the helmet. So very clearly there is a shell, and inside there is expanded polystyrene, which is the thermocol inside,
Right.
which is, so this is for impact resistance, and the inside is for impact absorption. So the impact resistance comes from having a very good quality material. It's a blend of ABS and polycarbonate.
Okay.
Which is the best. Men's motorcycle helmets have that sort of material, right? That's a very important part of it. You will find that a lot of women's helmets, which are cheap, are cheap because the materials are cheap. So either it is recycled ABS, or it's just cheap ABS. Even if it's virgin material, it's very cheap, so therefore it's very brittle. तो आप थोड़ा सा भी टैप करोगे उसमें छेद हो जाएगा.
Okay.
Right? So it can be not great. The expanded EPS, the polystyrene, also depends on the density of it, because unless you have a particular density, it will not absorb impact. It will just crumble. It's like your thermocol, it will just come apart.
Right.
So this has a density of 45, which is the same as what motorcycle helmets have. And that's when I realized that women's helmets just did not have the kind of quality that best of men's helmets had. So we decided that's what we were going to make. But I think the other one is also fit. Nobody sees this market as being big enough. So most of the helmets are made for men. You will say, even if you do a search, it will say they're helmets for women, but they will say, eventually it will come up and say it's helmets for men and women, which means that the mold size was a men's size.
Right.
There is this very old NID study that was done across, I think, a few lakh Indians to figure out what their sizes are.
Okay.
And the entire fashion industry actually follows that. That became the norm for Indians, for average Indian sizes. At that time, head sizes was part of it.
Okay.
So women's head sizes typically are at least 2 to 3 sizes smaller than men.
Right.
And those sizes, therefore we made it for those sizes. So I promise you, when you find a helmet, most of the time it will be wobbly. It will be loose. It won't be a perfect fit. So that's something we've engineered, and we made sure it's a perfect fit. We've also now gone for the cosmetic part of it. Every helmet that you find, it'll have a black boring strap. There's black lining inside. So we have, but this material is more than just being good looking. Your hair doesn't catch in it. It doesn't have that kind of a rough texture. It's softer on your hair.
Right.
The biggest,
something that women really care for a lot.
Correct. And the biggest one is earrings. Most of us wear earrings, whether big or small. Even if they're small, you have the earring post at the back. So when it gets pushed, it can poke you.
Right.
So this has these earring notches where you can put your earrings in. It has the biggest jhumkas. So it's been designed for women. But more importantly, we have a certification which beats anything else, because most Indian women's helmets are ISI. And ISI is a good standard. It's a good standard, but it's not really great.
Okay.
The testing for ISI typically is done at under 25 kilometers per hour.
Okay.
So we have also an additional standard which is not required in India, which is the DOT standard. DOT is the American standard.
Okay.
And it's an impact testing which is done at about 50% higher than ISI, and that's what this meets.
50% higher, that's amazing. And that's a conscious call, because at the same time you want to balance the product from the design front, design it for women, not just pink wash, because generally that's what we see, right? The products which are there in the market, they are for the men, but they just label it pink and then they say they are for women as well.
Exactly.
Right. And at the same time you've made sure that it's like 50% more safer for them.
So absolutely confident in saying it's a better helmet, for sure.
Great.
So I know after your accident, and what is the trauma of it? 40 stitches.
So like I said that, for me it was, I generally have a habit of wearing the helmet every day, but for quite a few days my visor was not in place and I was not wearing a full helmet. This was like one with visor, like not the full one which we have for men. So I was hit by a car from behind and I wasn't even aware that like I had met with something like that until I woke up after 2 days in the hospital, and from the government hospital to the public one, all of that trauma. But I've been like lucky to have people beside who pushed me, like rushed me to the hospital in time. For me, the mental trauma was essentially where me and my husband, we were kind of like alone at that time in India. There was no support ecosystem at the moment, and mentally we had, as entrepreneurs, when you are kind of building it bootstrap, you have team to take care of, all of the other things in mind, and you're sitting on the bed and you are not able to realize why it happened to you. And when you realize all of a sudden that this was something which was a 19-year-old guy who was like who had maybe just got licensed just a year before, a few months back, he wouldn't have even cared for something, a person who's driving a two-wheeler. And yeah, of course, like not wearing a helmet that day definitely is a realization you would have, and you would want to make it as a permanent thing. But in terms of the mental situation, when you are sitting back and you're the kind of person you don't lay idle, and you are like always on your toes, so you have this thrust to get back up and get rolling as soon as possible. That kind of gives you the push. But in terms of the mental state, you are you realize, are you really at fault, or are we really caring for the people enough that we driving in a way, or we just taking it casually? And we have heard of accidents in Baroda where a lot of people just escape, but now people have become smart. They get to know that escaping isn't the best route if you have to have a legal system. And the most surprising or shocking part you asked of trauma was that CCTV footage in India is not considered as a legal evidence, because
really?
yeah, so when we get we thought of whether we should file a complaint or not file a complaint, all of that thing was going on, and we had good friends who had advised us that you should file a complaint. So when we talked about it with the police inspectors and the government bodies, they're like, that is just a proof for government to see and not something which can be considered as a legal evidence. So do you think in the kind of situations we have on road, people will be confident enough to say that this was the guy or this was the car who would have put me in that kind of a situation? What do you have in your hands? That is the way where like the biggest thing which hurts you a lot more than in terms of.
So he got away?
Yeah, he got away, and yeah, we definitely have filed a case, so it is in that process. The reason why I decided to file a legal case was mentally that person should know that it is going to cost somebody's life. Like, it's not that easy. So although in terms of the law it might take years for him to like actually have some action being taken against him, but yeah, he will not be casual with that. And at the same time, it comes for you as a realization on how crucial a helmet is it for you. And for all the women, not the ones who are just riding themselves, but as well as more importantly for the pillion drivers. So that definitely is a striking call, and that is why I really personally resonate with your mission as well so much.
So Shweta, 40 stitches on the head, and you went back to riding a two-wheeler again. How did you do that?
Right. So definitely I had to fix mentally myself that the road conditions are not going to change. The way we have to live in India, the rules are not the primary determinant. We have to take care of our own safety. Wearing a helmet essentially was very much a part of my mental framework earlier as well, but now I have become more conscious, and for every woman who comes to my house, who I am connected with, I am not connected with, for the people who I meet on daily basis, my office staff, it has become so strong a part of my daily mental conscious decision that with 40 stitches, if I can get up, I was lucky, but not everybody is so lucky to have escaped that. And it could be a minor injury which can cost you your own life. So how can we be so casual about it? And that is why that personal thing, something where I resonate with it, and I share it with everybody who comes to my house, even the maid who comes to my office, I make sure that I tell her that she has to wear a helmet. So that is how deeply personal it is now. Yeah.
No, I think you're absolutely right. You know, I used to go to work every day, and I would be sitting in a car, right, in Mumbai, and in front of me there would be scooters coming from here. वो यहाँ से आके निकालेगा. There'll be another one going this way, and I would always find the man in the front wearing a helmet, and the woman at the back not wearing a helmet. I would find them frequently sitting sideways, where they could fall any time. There are kids who are sitting, and this physics of it is, see, earlier scooters used to have two separate seats, so you could hold on to the seat. Now it's a single seat, so in that single seat there is nothing to hold on to. So unless it is, you know, you're very intimate with that person, you can't even hold on to the person who's sitting in the front. If there are Rapido riders and women sitting behind Rapido riders, they're not going to hold on to them, so they have nothing to hold on to, right? That's the first thing. Kids to have nothing at all, because they are so tiny, their center of gravity is so high, their legs are dangling, they can't reach the foot rest, so they don't have stability. The seat is too wide for their bodies, so anyway they don't have stability. And then I find that the person in front is not very careful about how they are still riding. So even with little kids at the back, they're going left and right, getting in and taking sharp turns. So I think helmets, it's the biggest thing that we really need to have. And all the reported numbers, this 19% fatalities of riders, 44% of Pillion riders, don't account for the injuries. We only record fatalities. So there could be a life, you know, your spinal cord could be gone, you could be paralyzed for life. None of that is recorded.
Absolutely, and that in case of the legal framework also, the law takes action against if the person who's been hit or died in the accident. That is the biggest thing where the action mostly happens, where like you talk about the mental injury or the physical injury or the kind of trauma that person would have undergone for many years after the accident, that never comes to the picture.
They could have lost limbs, it never comes. So I believe this is, you know, a helmet is really important, but you can't make people say it'll keep you safe for life. वो कोई समझेगा नहीं. Maybe the parents will care that, you know, their daughter is not wearing a helmet, but she herself will not care. She has a limited amount of salary. She wants to spend on clothes, she wants to spend on fashion, on lipsticks, on whatever else, or go out with friends, travel. There are many other priorities that will come before safety, unless you make it really cool. So that's where I come back to it. Whichever way I thought about it, I thought that the aesthetic design has to be something that has to work.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially, let me jump the gun. You said that we really we say that we care for the people, but in a way, when we are, you know, when we are talking about women, is this not a very beautiful thing which we can give it to them, and you know, that becomes a personal thing where it is a kind of a gesture where I would like to give it to somebody you know, who I care about. So when we are talking about the corporate culture, we see this gap hugely where it is a blind spot which I personally feel. What are your thoughts about that?
Yes. So there are two types of gifting. There's personal gifting, there's corporate gifting. Personal gifting, I believe that there is no product better than this that says you care. It's not a you know, in case it's not an intimate relationship, you can't give things like perfume and clothes and all. You can, this boss can give to a secretary, there is no problem. It shows you care without it being intimate. And you can genuinely, whether it is the lady who works in your house that you care about, or whether it is, you know, a secretary in your office, or it's a peer or a friend, anybody you care for, I think this, nothing says better than this. When I look at helmets which women are going to work with, or going for a breakfast or lunch meeting, they will have a helmet, they'll try and hide it, they'll put it somewhere, niche chupa denge. A helmet like this, if you keep it on the table, it says a lot about you as a person. The choices you make as a person. It's like a bag. The bag you carry says a lot about you. The watch you wear says a lot about you. The helmet you wear says a lot about you. So I think it's that. The other is this corporate gift angle, So I get a lot of corporate gifts,
Yeah.
diary, and somebody even gave me a mouse pad. अब mouse pad कौन use करता है? There's a water bottle now. Everybody gives the same water bottle and all that. So this bhed chal of corporate gifts is very much there.
Right.
And I think this makes the best corporate gift to say I care, whether I'm gifting it to a customer or to my own employees. I think it's a brilliant gift to give.
Yeah, and specifically when we are talking so much about that we care for the people who come the moment they enter our factory premises or our office premises, we want to make sure everything when they are reaching office is safe, but then we just start from where the door gate opens but what is where from the where moment they are starting their commute from home to the office, that is where it comes as a natural extension of a beautiful corporate gift which we've been giving, like not without giving a thought and just bhed chal like you said कि simple दूसरों को copy किया जो चल रहा है diary pen ये वो, all of that is what people
generally give. So there are some
give.
companies that give helmets as gifts. And we've heard of banks and large companies that they give all their employees as gifts. So we also had some people approach us saying कि आपका helmet का price क्या होगा, and we realized that the corporate gifts, who is making money, the middleman or wherever the money is being made, but those helmets are given at 250 rupees. We know what goes into a helmet or what doesn't go into a helmet at 250 rupees. It is the worst, the lowest grade quality. You might as well not give it. So this is the difference, that one, it's not enough just to say it's a helmet.
For देने के लिए दिया kind of, and एक है कि you are like really wanting to make a difference and caring for that person. Because if you really care, you would go the extra mile and give something which is meaningful and can actually make a difference to that person. That is where I agree with you. And it's not like it's just not the design part, it's really much more than that, where really a gesture of what you care for the other person.
Absolutely.
So I have personally done that for my office staff, and I keep on asking them. That's a small way which I have started to integrate, like you were asking me about my afterthoughts after the trauma which I have gone for. One other thing which I have personally felt that on the roads, because see, you are building a product which is kind of a literal movement related to road safety, and kind of very transformational thought process. It is going to take us a lot of time to shift our mental framework towards giving the importance to the pillion rider safety, which is very much deserved importance. But there is this aspect which we call where on the roads, I have personally feel when my husband told me about my accident that in my case there was a bystander who really took the action. He didn't hesitate to help me and rush me to the hospital in time. But when you are building a product like this, I'm sure you are coming out about many cultural nuances like this and the cultural perspectives of people. So do you think there is a gap in terms of, are we taking just the people who are like safety of people who are lying on the road just hit by accident? Are we just supposed to only click pictures, stand frozen, or is there actually a gap in terms of the person who's just lying down, is his life really not important? What do you feel about this?
I feel that people are good generally, and everybody.
So there's no lack of empathy.
There's no lack of empathy. When you see an accident, people genuinely feel bad. I think people don't know what to do.
Okay.
And there is very little education on करना क्या चाहिए. अगर आपने एक्सीडेंट देखा है रोड पे तो क्या करोगे आप?
सबसे पहले तो डर आ जाता है दिमाग में कि भाई मैं करूँगा तो मेरा नाम आ जाएगा. तो वो जो एक उसके बारे में अवेयरनेस नहीं है, मुझे लगता है वो एक बहुत बड़ा रीज़न है.
बहुत बड़ा रीज़न है. तो जैसे अदर कंट्रीज़ इन द वर्ल्ड, US है, पहले छोटे बच्चों को भी सिखाते हैं कभी भी प्रॉब्लम हो कॉल 911. ठीक है. सो अगर आप खुद भी नहीं करोगे, गवर्नमेंट सर्विसेज भी करने हैं, हमें कौन सा नंबर वो याद करना पड़ता है, कौन सा नंबर, वी डोंट नो इनफ. ठीक है. दूसरा, अगर खुद भी आप हेल्प करो तो कैसे करोगे, कैसे उसको उठाना चाहिए, कैसे आपको बिठाना चाहिए कि नहीं, व्हाट इज़ द बेस्ट वे ऑफ मैनेजिंग anybody who's hurt. We have no understanding or training at all. I think this is where a lot of road safety departments, a lot of NGOs involved in this is where we should teach bystanders कि करना क्या चाहिए. How do you help them?
Right.
ये सब झुंड हो जाता है, क्राउड करते हैं लोग, सब लोग देखने आ जाते हैं क्या हुआ. It's because everybody cares. Some voyeurism is also there, लेकिन सबको बुरा लगता है कभी कुछ होता है. So I think people are good. We just have to teach them better.
Right. So. And of course we need to also address the awareness aspect कि मेरे को कुछ नहीं होगा, because I have heard of you get a award from the government if you are helping. I wasn't aware. There was this police inspector who told me that if you help somebody in such kind of a situation, there is a award which you get. The other cultural perspective of the right stakeholders connecting together and bringing more awareness about कि भाई करते हो तो पहली बात आप नहीं फंसोगे, आपको कुछ नहीं होगा, एंड वो दूसरे बंदे की जान बचाने से आप किस तरीके से, ऑफ कोर्स उसको तो आप मदद कर रहे हो, बट आपको भी इस तरीके से आपको मॉनेटरी बेनिफिट और रिकॉग्निशन मिलने वाला है. आई एम नॉट श्योर अबाउट द मॉनेटरी फिगर, बट डेफिनेटली द गोल्डन आवर विच वी टॉक अबाउट, द मेडिकल fraternity talks of that golden hour in which you have to get the right kind of medical support. But if you support the other person in that particular time, definitely there is no legal action which is going to be taken against you, but it is actually a recognition and the monetary benefit which you are going to get from the government. It's something which I heard of later on when I had to go to the police station to report my accident.
Yeah. That's amazing. I'm from the industry and I haven't heard of this. So, so I think you're right. All stakeholders need to come together. There is a lot more awareness about road safety. I think the government is more serious.
Yeah.
I think the minister now we have, he's far more involved and very, very conscious, but not enough is happening.
Yeah.
We still remain the world capital for road accidents.
Right.
The maximum number of road accidents in the world are here.
Yeah. And you just mentioned about, like so many accidents are happening in India, and of course there are, at the rule level we are doing a lot, but in terms of when you are like rolling out the products in different parts of India, which are the cities where you are saying where the pillion rider safety has started to pick up, of course not just because of the law, maybe because of the initiatives you are taking, which are the parts in India where we are actually taking pillion rider safety seriously?
I think South, so Bangalore you'll see it compulsory. A lot of South states, there's a lot more awareness. Madhya Pradesh mein there's a new law which has made it compulsory. I think there are pockets that you find where this is a legislation, but people are also following it. I recently went to Ranchi. It was compulsory for pillion riders to wear. West Bengal, another state. So it depends on the state, and I think also how empowered the women are in that state.
Yeah, it matters a lot.
It matters a lot. There are pockets where it's completely different, like Pune. Pune, the residents of Pune litigated for their birthright to not wear a helmet, and they won that. So it's not compulsory in Pune either for the rider or the pillion rider. So there are problems like this but there are many riders. We have a lot of customers from Pune. So I think individual responsibility, it's not just the state legislation, but also individual responsibility matters. And you find that especially when people have fallen once, they become far more conscious, or they know of somebody who's had a bad accident, they become far more conscious.
And this is something in terms of the products, because you are selling it online. Are you coming across any specific kind of moments or phenomena in which or the situations in which people are buying helmets more? Is there any pattern you have seen in the buying so far? Of course
not really. I think when people buy a new scooter, that's a time to get a new helmet. Typically a scooter manufacturer is supposed to give 2 free helmets, so they do get 2 free helmets. Now that's a requirement from this financial year, but those helmets are the cheapest and they are not necessarily the best, because they have to give it free. It is sourced like that also. So that is a time when I do find that a lot of buyers, but there's no particular time in the year. Whenever they buy scooters is when they would.
Right. But are the buyers themselves women or men? I'm just curious to know, because you are designing a product for women. Are women themselves buying them, or somebody else is buying for them?
I think majority of our customers are women, but we do have men buying. Years ago there was this campaign that Prestige had done. कि जो बीवी से करे प्यार वो प्रेस्टीज से कैसे करे इनकार. And I think it's a question of awareness. I think men feel very responsible for, whoever is riding at the back, whether it's their wife or their mother or daughter. They care so much, but it is just that thought has not occurred to them that she is in fact more vulnerable. 44% versus 19%, she is more vulnerable, and we definitely need a helmet for her. And the other one is the kids helmet. We are just launching it. I found so many gaps in the kids helmets in the country right now. It's a one size fits all.
Yeah.
तो वही wobbly problem हुआ. We've made them specifically for 5 to 8, 8 to 12, 12 to 16. तो ये sizing का helmet में it's a very big problem.
Yeah.
And it's something that we need to solve for. So I even urge other brands, our competitor brands, that please make sure that you make them as per sizes. Do not just have one size or two size which is supposed to fit all. I think the second thing is, it's the cost of a pizza or a cost of 2 movie tickets up. Why would you not buy a helmet? There are so many things that parents spend on my child's future. आपने प्रेजेंट ही नहीं प्रोटेक्ट करा है, वो बच्चा जा रहा है ट्यूशन के लिए फॉर सम फ्यूचर IIT प्रोग्राम, वो हेलमेट बिना पहन के वो कौन सा फ्यूचर आप चेज कर रहे हो इफ यू नॉट मेड द चाइल्ड प्रोटेक्टेड इन द प्रेजेंट.
उसका आज तो पहले सुधारो, कल सुधरेगा.
I mean, you just, especially for children, see, you can not worry of your own safety, that's on you. But you are responsible for the child's safety. There should be no compromise whatsoever. So I'm hoping that at least our children's helmets, every parent believes that it's their duty to buy this.
And I'm sure you've taken care of the same design love which you have cared for in the women helmets and the child as well, because they would also love to have something which is visually interesting and beautiful to carry for.
So absolutely.
Not something to just put it aside and keep it.
And hide it in your school bag. कि मेरे parents ने मेरे को helmet पहना दिया. We were thinking, who is the coolest kid in the class? The coolest kid in the class is this child who थोड़ा सा naughty शैतान बच्चा है. Or it's not what you carry, it's just what your attitude is, right? If that child does something, all the other kids want it. So we're making a brand, and I don't have the designs to show you here, but we're making a brand called Hype. And that Hype has this idea of this cool kid. उसको वो parents छोटे dinosaur बना दिया ये वो. It's not like that. It is really a cool kid who says break the boring but not the rules. He's a good kid, but he doesn't have any hesitation taking on any cause, like a Greta Thunberg at 13 when she fought for her future and her generation's future outside the UN. So we are talking to kids like that parents would feel that my child is confident, and we are creating designs which hopefully the kids will love as well and feel very, very cool wearing them.
So. Beautiful. And I'm sure you would have got really great feedback from women, because especially when you talk about, you have designed it so well that the earrings can be taken care of. Generally when you are as a woman, you are like, I like to change my earrings every day with the attire, and I'm sure you are hearing from women already about the design angle of it, and if you are if you want, you would love to hear what kind of feedbacks you've been getting so far from women.
So we, one is that we have helmets at different price points. Older designs or something which we have a lot of stock, those are at a lower price point. We're selling it like fashion, and sometimes something is not in stock and we tell a woman, we'll give you another one, we'll give you a discount on it. वो बोलती है, no, I'll wait 1 month, मेरे को वही design चाहिए. Right? So that works. And if she's wearing it because she likes that design, our job is done. We don't have to worry about her safety because she wants to wear this helmet. That's really
that is what you have designed Tvarra for.
That's the goal.
Great. So one, of course, we addressed that, why did you decide to found Tvarra in your 50s, but specifically moving from building brands to being part of the corporate boardrooms to founding Tvarra, what was your strong why? What was the reason?
So there were 2 reasons. One was that I had a lot of ideas that I found when I was trying to implement the bolder, the more difficult ideas. I found that a lot of clients would not be interested in doing that, and they would typically follow what was research, what was done before, and there wasn't too much newness there, and I wanted to build something new. I think that's been a burning desire, to build something, find a category where there's not too much happening, bring some newness there and make something new. That is just who I am.
You like to tackle tough things on the head.
I think it's the high risk, high reward strategy that always excites me. So I think that's one part of it. The other is a much more, a mundane thing. As women, as a woman who's had break in careers, whenever I've joined back, I've been penalized for it. So I'm always typically found a lower paying kind of thing, because आपका इतना career break था. Women come across this, you can be as good, you can be better, your performance appraisal can be significantly better, but you start at a lower thing and then you get stuck there. So I always thought that, look, no one's going to reward me, and I'm not going to complain. If I want to be rewarded, I'll just do it on my own. And that was one other driver. So multiple drivers for starting on my own. Third is possibly, my innate Gujarati baniya blood. Yeah. So which said, enough, auron ke liye bahut kar liya, do it for myself. Yeah. So all of this, I think, came together.
And I'm sure you're enjoying it.
I'm having the time of my life. It's a difficult journey, and there are days when I've got up. There was, we started making men's composite fiber helmets to begin with. That was what I started with. And that's because all helmet testing is done at really low speeds. Bikes have gotten stronger, more powerful 200cc plus bikes, and these riders are going at 100 kilometers plus. And the only helmet that can save them is the composite fiber helmet, which is what we started making. The idea was to make an affordable composite fiber. After 5 years, realized we couldn't make an affordable one. We could make a very good one, but it was not affordable. It was at a very high price, and I don't think there's a market in India at that price point of about 18,000 for the helmet. So started Tvarra, which was another white space. It was a gap, and there were days when I got up thinking I had died. For 5 years, taken money from friends, well-wishers, family who had put their trust in me. And at the end of 5 years, I knew that we had to walk away from that because we couldn't make it profitable. And unlike, I think it comes from this slightly older outlook, I don't believe in valuations when there is no depth.
Yeah.
And so it has to be profitable. And I couldn't see a path to profits in this. I could see that, okay, we could keep getting funded, we would have grown bigger and bigger, and maybe in another 5 years, maybe, but that was just hope. And I couldn't see a clear road to being a profitable venture which was responsible in every way without compromising on products. And I think at that time, when I was driving, is when I saw this woman and child and the man in front, and those two not really protected. And that's when I realized that till now I had been thinking about only the 25-30 lakh women riders and saying this is a very small category. When I saw those Pillion riders, I said, my God, it's 30 crore women who are Pillion riders, and it's about 50-60 crore kids who are Pillion riders, and that is the size of the market. It's way bigger than men's. It also doesn't have any competition, hardly any competition. So it's a white space like no other. I think as a business proposition, it's a brilliant proposition. And with a TAM, even if you take 10% of that as your market size, it's humongous. You can just keep adding zeros. Yeah. So I think it's a great business idea, and it's very joyful to make something which is a good product. So
yeah, sure. I'm happy to know your thoughts about, you are somebody who would not chase aggressive valuation, you're building it so differently. But when specifically we hear about startup, there's so much buzz about that, when you are building a purpose-driven brand, the mission is clouded by the maths, right? So, of course, you said that with Tvarra, the reason why you decided to discontinue was, of course, the not seeing the road ahead. But when you are building Tvarra, how is it you are protecting the heart of the mission and also making sure that the aggressive economics which is required to scale is still in place. It's protected. Heart of the mission is also protected. At the same time, you're
So I
building a
learned it the
profitable
hard
skill.
way. I have to say I learned it the hard way when I started the other brand, which was the men's brand Tvarra. We said we will do everything right, then we'll figure out how to make money on it when we scale up. I don't think that worked.
Yeah.
I think from the beginning we have to keep an eye on numbers.
Yeah.
Even then, it's not about keeping an eye on numbers doesn't mean going after the cheapest thing.
True.
I think the Indian consumer is not looking for the cheapest.
Yeah.
They're looking for the most value.
I agree.
आप मुझे 2000 रुपए की चीज़ दे रहे हो, उसमें आप क्या डाल रहे हो?
Yeah.
What is the value I'm getting from it, right? And that is what we are focusing on. We are saying how can we have the best paint, best finishes, best fabrics, best comfort, optical grade visor, highest visibility. How do you create value in a product so that when you look at it you say, okay, this price is fine. And I have found that except for dealers who are used to selling the cheapest helmets to women, there is nobody who has said this is too expensive.
Yeah, it's not. Absolutely. For the value what you're offering, it looks beautiful, you've designed it so well, you've given so much thought in terms of what a woman needs to care about, her hair doesn't stick to the helmet, the earrings being taken care of, so much thought. Yeah, I agree. So you are kind of protecting and building it differently in terms of the value which you are providing. So you also mentioned a while back that while building Tvarra, you have come across those kind of dead ends. And as an entrepreneur, the show Meet Momentum Masters, we always ask this question: what is the secret of your momentum? What makes you keep going when you kind of hit those walls or dead ends? What is your secret to your momentum?
I think you have to be stubborn, right? It's a required quality. For entrepreneurs, every time you have some heartache, some problem in between, and you say, now I'm not going to go, you have to just keep going. And I think entrepreneurship is about that. It's about no matter what comes your way, you keep going. So I think it's like that Energizer bunny, जो भी होता है, you have to keep going. I think there's some spiritual lessons in that. No matter what happens, you don't stop. But that's really where success comes. When I looked at so many entrepreneurship journeys, I found that very few are immediate hits and unicorns. A lot of them go through this. So many stories where you've reached just the end of and then suddenly something turns. So I think it's about the ability to keep going. And no matter what happens, you have to dig for that motivation inside. वो बाहर से नहीं आता. From outside, you will have so many people who will say, how can this succeed? There are so many things wrong with it. So I find that, my friend and classmate started Nykaa and she's done phenomenally well. I'm so proud of her. And Falguni says that when she started, there were so many people who said, what a terrible idea, it's never going to work and so on. Now that it's done well, there are so many say, Arey, I always was supporting you. So you will find both kinds of people at all times. But yeah.
So I'm very curious to know what does Tvarra stand for? Why did you choose this name for this brand? You're great at naming brands, so would love to know what is the meaning of Tvarra.
So Tvarra in Sanskrit is a word for speed. This is the feminine form of that. So this is for the woman who won't stop. No matter what happens, she will keep going. A lot of her brand actually comes from this understanding this woman. The day she sits on a two-wheeler for the first time is when she has agency, she has independence like never before. Till then, either somebody drops her or she goes by public transport or auto, where you never have the kind of freedom that you have the way you do on a two-wheeler. So the brand really is an enabler of that freedom for her as a brand. So if you'll notice, even in our logo, Tvarra, we have these two R's. The two R's are like a butterfly.
Wow.
So the idea is that from the day she transforms from the chrysalis to the butterfly, the brand is where helps her take flight.
Yeah.
And we have a little pocket at the back with an intention card. So each of this has a story, a dream she can write.
Wow.
And then when she rides with the dream very close to her.
Wow.
And that's hidden at the back,
Oh,
which is her own.
Wow. And
Yeah.
she's taking charge.
She's taking charge of her life. That's
and
what
and the
riding
dream is always there, and she's not leaving it behind for all the world.
not
She's
leaving it
always
behind.
carrying
Yeah,
with it
yeah.
her. With
So
her.
the brand has to feel right for her emotionally. It has to resonate. The product we'll take care of. We'll make sure she's safe, it's the best and so on. But that's not why anybody will buy a helmet.
Yeah.
That's too boring a reason to buy a helmet. The real reason is that, you know, it appeals to you. It's part of your dream.
True.
So,
And the day you ride the two-wheeler for the first time is when you transition and the metamorphosis kind of happens.
correct.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
So a lot of been talked about speed. The brand itself talks about freedom. Speed itself is inherent in the name. So it's time for the rapid fire round. I
Oh.
would. So we'll go quick, and you have to answer either in one word for some questions and for one sentences in few. So the first one is, to Alpana Parida, rider safety isn't a checklist. It's a one word. It's fill in the blank.
It's life and death.
Life and death. Okay. What's the biggest lie in Indian two-wheeler rider thinks of the moment before they turn the vehicle on?
मुझे कुछ नहीं होगा. Accidents will happen to other people. Nothing will happen to me. There's this story in Mahabharata of Yudhishthir and the Yaksha. And Yaksha asks Yudhishthir, what is the strangest thing about humans? And Yudhishthir answers that every human, even though they are going to die, believes that they will never die.
Yeah.
So we are made that way. We are wired like that, to think nothing will happen to us.
मुझे कुछ नहीं होगा.
मुझे कुछ
All
नहीं
is
होगा. सब दूसरों को एक्सीडेंट होते हैं, मुझे नहीं
मुझे
होता है.
कुछ नहीं होगा. Right. So the most bizarre thing you've ever seen a family carrying on a two-wheeler in India?
A mattress. 3 people actually carrying it on their heads. It was bizarre.
Okay. Right. If Tvarra designed a smart helmet which had a built-in AI voice assistant, whose voice would it be? Would it be Morgan Freeman, actor, actress? You could name anybody. You could name a specific sentence that Gen Z would say. What would that be?
So it would be Jemima Rodriguez. We've taken her on as a brand ambassador. I think she is with us, not just as a brand ambassador, also investor. She's with us because I think she's very authentic. There's nothing artificial about her. She is who she is, and I think that honesty, that reality really is something that people trust. We really want people to start thinking about wearing helmets as a rider or as a pillion rider, and we need somebody whose voice will be trustworthy, and she is that.
Beautiful.
She's that voice.
Beautiful.
She's the Gen Z voice.
Yeah. True. One corporate buzzword or jargon you wish should be banned from the boardrooms.
Oh, compliance.
Compliance.
Today, of course, compliance is necessary, but today all boardrooms are only about compliance. A board should be steering the growth of a company, the future of a company, should be doing a lot more. There's so much of compliance that has come onto boards that I think the real job of a board is forgotten now.
Yeah. And what is the absolute best superpower of being a founder in your 50s rather than somebody who's in their 20s?
You know everybody. So what comes with grey hair is that you have a network that you've established over decades. And so today there is any door in the world, and in the world, I can open with 1 or 2 degree of separation. Any access is not a problem. Second thing is, you've already made your mistakes. So you've learned from many of them. You know what they say about startups, you make mistakes and you learn, and हमने 60%, 70% mistakes already. You will make new ones, but there are a lot that have already been done. So you're surer about a lot of things.
All right.
So.
If you had a magic wand, apart from not wearing a helmet, what is something which you would want to instantly change about a situation on road in India?
Oh, no potholes. Any other parts of the world, including developing countries, underdeveloped countries, I think we have the worst roads in the world.
Quick choice, a cross-country road trip on a motorcycle or a luxury flight in a first class?
I think the motorcycle one is more exciting as a thought. When you go in a car or in an aircraft, you are in a bubble. your environment is protected and you are not at one with the world. When you are in a two-wheeler, you and the environment are one. So it's a state of oneness with what is around. I think it can be a deeply spiritual experience to be on a motorcycle alone.
Great. And that absolutely resonates with what we've been building so far, both of your ventures. So you talk about that, and that is where you've been like crafting so nicely, the way you're building a brand. So I really had a great time having a conversation with you, and hearing the way you have been building the brand, the way you think about what is important on the roads, how we think of the people who are just bystanders, or who are actually riding themselves, or the people we care for, either in the corporate ecosystem or in the personal ecosystem, and how helmet can be as a beautiful gift for the people who really care for, who we really genuinely care for, rather than just something कुछ भी उठा के दे दिया kind of, right, जो भेड़ चाल चल रही है. So I had a great time having an amazing conversation with you, and the secret behind your momentum. I had an amazing time with you here. So great to have you, Alpana. Great to have you on Meet Momentum Masters.
Thank you, Shweta. I want to add a line here. I really wish your voice goes far and wide. I think the voice you have on road safety, not just helmets, but any aspect of road safety, or getting bystanders, laws made for bystanders or make them more visible. I hope your voice goes very wide. I hope a lot of people in this industry use your voice to take it further. So wish you all the best and every success.
Thank you so much. And the best part was that you asked me questions. So I was not anticipating that I would have a question from your side, and I had an amazing dialogue with you. Thank you for the best wishes, and great to see you on the road ahead, where Tvarra evolves and becomes a big brand, which we were trying to do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.